Back here now on the KFOR Plus news desk and tracking macronutrients, carbohydrates, proteins, and fats has become a very popular strategy for improving health and building muscle and managing weight. Today, Dr. Isha Mannering now joins us to break down what macros are, how to track them, and whether this approach is right for everyone. Dr. Mannering, thank you so much for your time today. I sure appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
You got it. So, for people new to the concept, Doc, how do you explain what macronutrients or macros really are and why they matter?
Well, simply put, they are the building blocks of what we need to survive. So, the building blocks of our food. Macro means big. So, these are the three big categories of nutrients that we need. And those can be categorized as proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. Then, within those groups, you have your micronutrients, which are the smaller but more numerous classes of nutrients that we need.
Okay, so why do you think tracking macros has emerged as such a big trend in the fitness and wellness space?
Well, I think it is a very good way to have a conversation about our diets and our food and to kind of optimize our food intake to serve our needs, whether we are trying to achieve certain gains in our health or whether we are trying to gain muscle or lose weight. It's just a different way of having a conversation about how to really build our calories in our diet.
Okay, so how does macro tracking differ from traditional calorie counting?
Right. So it just allows you to customize or individualize your diet a little bit more. So for example, when we talk about caloric intake, it often boils down to a simple net gain, net deficit. So if you want to lose weight, then you just eat fewer calories. Well, what if for each individual person calorie is not always the same. So the building block of the diet could affect how we process the calories that we take in, and it can really give us a little bit more information that guides us on how to feel our best. So some people may need more protein in their diet, some people may need more carbohydrates in their diet. So instead of just simply looking at the calorie number, you're now looking at what makes up those calories.
So, what is the simplest way for someone to determine how many grams of carbs, protein, and fat that they would need? I guess.
Yes, so sometimes I'll try to watch some of the information out there, the videos out there that explain this to people, and some of them can be so complicated. So the simple way I think about it is, say you have a target number of calories that you want to take in a day. Well, then you can just kind of break that down into percentages of proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. So some people may need about 30 to 40% of protein and 30 to 40% of fat, and then the rest is going to be the carbohydrate percentage. Now, your physician or a registered dietitian can help you determine your total caloric intake goal, as well as the composition and the percentage of each macronutrient that you need.
Does individual factors such as age, gender, or medical conditions impact someone's ideal macro ratio?
Absolutely. So, for example, if you are trying to build muscle, you're going to want more protein. If you are diabetic or pre-diabetic, you're going to want a smaller percentage of carbohydrates. If you're postpartum breastfeeding, you're going to want more of a balanced approach. So it really just depends on your individual needs. And I think that is really one of the main advantages of using the macro method.
What do people tend to learn about their eating patterns when they start tracking macros?
So I love this question because I think it shows us how we feel and how we feel our best with certain things. So, we all hear people say, oh, when I cut out carbs, I felt more energetic. When I added more protein, I felt like I could think more clearly. So a little bit of experimentation is actually okay. It's a good way for us to kind of listen to our bodies and say, hey, when I eat more of this, I actually feel better. And I encourage people to do that. Definitely get your guidance from your medical providers, but then really maybe journal or pay attention to how you feel when you make those adjustments. And that's what most people notice. They say, oh, when I kind of optimize my macros, I feel my best and maybe I look my best and maybe I have more energy.
Are there any misconceptions that people might have about a high protein intake diet?
Well, I think that depends on the individual whether or not that's a good choice for them. I think sometimes when people tend to overemphasize, say, certain macros, they almost vilify other macros. So I would say that's probably the most common misconception is just because we say one macronutrient is great, for you for some reason, that doesn't mean that you completely need to cut out another category. You still want to have a little bit of that balance where you include each building block. This is why we call them the macronutrients. These are the three major
Mm.
classes. So we kind of need all three.
What's your advice for someone curious about macro tracking but unsure where to begin?
Well, I think you want to keep it simple for yourself. If you start out with a very complicated approach, it's going to be really hard to maintain. Second thing would be to just pay attention to how you feel. Just because, you read, hey, a high protein diet is great for someone else, if you try it and you don't feel good, then that means maybe it's not for you. And the third thing would be always get guidance from a medical professional as well.
Okay, and Dr. Mannering, for anyone listening who feels overwhelmed by nutritional advice, what's the one guiding principle that you want them to remember when it comes to eating well and understanding their macros?
I want people to understand there is not a magic formula that works for everyone. Otherwise, we wouldn't have so many conversations regarding this. At the end of the day, how you feel and your personal goals are so unique to you. Just keep that in mind in building up a diet plan for yourself.
Dr. Isha Mannering, thank you so much for your time. I sure appreciate all the input.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.